Welcome back, everyone, to the Business Spotlight podcast here with Action Coach Northwest. I am your host, Lauren, and today we have Treasure of Clines Nation here to chat all things business. Well, hello, Treasure. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd love to know how your business began.
Yeah, well, I actually just exited Clines Nation, but
Oh my goodness.
we have a whole bunch of other businesses that we can talk about. But
Yeah, tell
it
me
all
everything.
did start with Clines Nation. Not a traditional story. Clines Nation was I founded Clines Nation, and it was birthed out of necessity. I was in a very oppressive marriage, was married for 10 years, together with my ex-husband for 15 years, and found myself in a very dark place. I didn't have income, didn't have independence, and I had children, and found myself in a very low place, and started talking to somebody. I was a therapist in Post Falls, Idaho, named John, who I am eternally grateful for. And he had some hard conversations with me. And he told me that I was choosing to be a victim if I wasn't going to change my circumstances. And that's hard to hear when you're in a very vulnerable place. Your self-esteem is at an all-time low. You have been a stay-at-home mom for the majority of the years that you in my marriage. So it was a hard pill to swallow, but I knew what I had to do because my mother was also in a similar situation. And she started cleaning houses to get out of a very toxic relationship with my father. My mom is still cleaning houses, and she invited me to clean houses with her. And I learned the trade from my mom and started bringing on houses into my own clientele. So it started with me working with my mom, cleaning her houses alongside of her, bringing on my own houses. I still remember my very first house that I got on my own. Her name was Kayla in Liberty Lake. We're still friends to this day, but it was just such a win under my belt to have my first house. I mean, that was the start of my business and independence. And this was in 2018. So a lot has transpired in those years, but that's how cleaning started.
Amazing. And I'd love to learn a little bit more about your other businesses too.
Yeah. So I have two HVAC businesses. I have one here in Spokane, Washington. It's called Clines Heating and Air Conditioning. My husband and I purchased that about a year and a half ago. And we have Comfort Systems. I've been remarried. Was married about two years ago. And we have Comfort Systems of Montana in Bozeman, Montana. And that was founded by my father-in-law and his brother in 1999. And we're in the process of exiting that business too. And we'll be focusing on HVAC in the Spokane area. And then we also have a demolition business in Bozeman, Montana called Local
Oh
Demo.
my goodness. Sounds like you're quite busy.
We are, but it's fun. We have a lot of fun.
Let's kind of focus back on Clines Nation since that's your baby. If you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
I didn't have any exposure to entrepreneurship when I was younger. My dad was an insurance salesman and worked really hard. My mom really worked hard too. Both my parents had an incredible work ethic. And my extended family too, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles. So I know work ethic, but it was like presented to me that you've got to go to get good grades in middle school, get good grades in high school, and then you conform and you go to college and you do all the things that you're supposed to do. And I didn't know that I could have done things a different way. I know that sounds really silly, but I think of like how they tie elephants in the circus to a chair, and they like they're an elephant. They could whip that chair out and be out of there. But I felt like an elephant tied to a chair. So I stayed in Spokane. I had my first child, my son, when I was 19 years old. And so life kind of took a different direction. But I talk entrepreneurship to my children all the time. I just wish that I would have known that there was more variety. Don't take anything back though, because this is what's my struggles and my path, my journey is what's led me to where I am now. But I wish that I understood, if there was one thing that I really wish that I understood, was the law of the lid. In the first chapter in John C. Maxwell's book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, he talks about the three lids, and those are operational effectiveness, leadership, and belief. And the belief lid would be like not understanding that I could leave Spokane, that I could do whatever I wanted to do. Leadership lit. I had no leadership skills. I played sports. I knew how to carry myself when I won, carry myself when I lost, but I didn't know how to lead people. And leadership is influence. Influence is leadership. I didn't have any influence. At least I didn't feel like I did, and wasn't working on growing those things. And then the final one maybe doesn't apply when you're young, but operational effectiveness. I had no idea what entrepreneurship was, or didn't even know what I wanted to do with my life. I was busy chasing boys and doing the things that 18, 19, 20-year-old kids do. I just didn't know any better. So I wish that I understood those three laws and applied them.
Yeah, that's good to know. I'm gonna also have to check out that book. Well, seems like you have learned a ton since then. What has been one of your biggest learnings as an employer since you began a business?
That those three pillars: leadership. To be successful, you have to understand that everything rises and falls on leadership. I'm a huge student of John C. Maxwell. I love leadership. I love cultivating and developing leadership in my organization, but understanding that success rises and falls on leadership. To understand how important that is, you invest a lot more in yourself, in personal development, in getting in the right rooms with the right people, making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you are and pushing you in your leadership and accountability.
I love that. And that's so true. That's something I've been learning a lot lately. What are some common misconceptions about running a business and how do you address them?
I think the biggest misconception about business is there's a lot of businesses that fail. I believe only 1 in 8 businesses make it past 10 years.
Okay.
And I think that's because people go into business about things that they're passionate about. And if success is what's important to you, like, you really have to look at like what is important and why you're starting a business. Because because you're great at a trade or great at something doesn't mean that it's a great industry. Like, I am not passionate about HVAC. You don't want me diagnosing your system. You don't want me, I couldn't tell you much about HVAC, but it's a recession-proof trade.
Oh,
It has a high multiplier on EBITDA when you exit. That's why private equity is so hot after HVAC right now. But you have to really look at like why you're starting a business. For me, I want to impact as many lives as possible. I want to develop and cultivate leaders. I'm passionate about a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that it's not something I'd want to start a business in. For example, I'm also a professional athlete. I'm an IFBB bikini pro. I spend a lot of time in the gym. I could have a posing business. And I have had some consulting that I've done in the past, but there's a cap. There's only so many people that I can coach. There's only so many that I can impact, and I want to do that on a larger scale. So I think a lot of people think I'm really good at baking cakes, so I want to open a bakery, not understanding the business side of it and the profit margins and the overhead that goes into owning and operating a restaurant. So just really understanding why you want to start that business. I think a lot of people just want freedom, and that they just get so wrapped up in what they know how to do or what they're passionate about. And that should be the last thing that you're looking at if success is your ultimate goal and you care about the exit of your business and you're a serious-minded entrepreneur.
interesting. That's really cool. Well, you have been growing a ton, it sounds like. What do you attribute your growth to?
So much suffering and pain. Scar tissue is built through suffering and pain. Adversity, I've been through a lot, and you learn more from losses than you do wins. And every time that I've failed, and it's been a lot of times, I reflect, I look at what I could do differently, and I do it differently. So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result when you're not getting the result that you would like. And people just keep doing that. So having the intentionality to look at my decisions, look at my actions that I'm taking, hold myself accountable for those things, and move forward, and consistency in that too. A lot of people, they'll stumble and they might get up, but they don't keep moving forward. They'll reroute, change direction. You've got to be persistent and keep charging ahead. And you've got to doubt your doubt and believe your beliefs. So we all have doubts, and as we get beat down by life and we have those losses, it's really easy to listen to those doubts inside your head and let those guide you. You've got to doubt those, you got to silence those, but we have our beliefs too. But sometimes we let our doubts drown out our beliefs. You got to believe your beliefs, and really be intentional on what those are, goal planning and goal setting. I believe everybody should have a 1, 3, and 5-year goal, and your beliefs should flow through that. And that goes back to that 3 pillars of the law of the lid. It's your belief lid. And as you build an organization, you can't let anybody surpass you in operational effectiveness and leadership or belief, because if they start to surpass you, they're going to go somewhere else. They're popping up on that lid. They can't grow anymore than the leader of that organization. So they're going to go somewhere else. That's how you lose great people. So just really have to believe those beliefs, keep growing those beliefs, because if you're growing a business, and if somebody's watching us, they're probably a business owner and have a team, you have to just be so intentional that you keep that belief lid big, and that you're investing into yourself and not getting distracted from those losses. Keep moving forward consistently.
That is incredible. Say you're a mom of some kiddos and married. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Well, we hear the word work-life balance thrown around a lot, and I'm sure that most people will tell you how they balance things. I hate that phrase. I'm just going to be so transparent with you. I hate that phrase. I just came back from a phenomenal workshop with my friend and mentor and coach, Ben Newman, and we got to spend a day at the Star training camp where the Dallas Cowboys were practicing. And we got to hear from Darren Woodson, one of the Cowboys greats. He was with the Cowboys from 1992 to 2003, 3-time Super Bowl champ and in the NFL Hall of Fame. And one thing that really stuck with me that we learned about was the 4 C's. And I'm going to share those with you and your audience just because they were so impactful to me. Content, compliant, committed, and compelled. I think work-life balance falls into 3 of those. So I'm going to explain what those mean, and then I'll explain to you why I don't believe in work-life balance. 4 different kinds of people: business owners or employees. Content. Those are the people that do the bare minimum and just show up. They are there to just punch a time clock. Don't want those people, but they are all about work-life balance and probably want more life balance than work balance. There are the compliant people, and those are the people that will do what's required, but they're not going to go above and beyond and do anything else. I think that would probably be the poster child for work-life balance, and they probably talk quite a bit about work-life balance too. And then there's the committed people, and commitment is great. And those are people that they're personally invested and they're committed and they'll go above and beyond, and they may entertain some work-life balance, but there's a step beyond that. And that's the domain that I live in. And that's the domain of the teammates that I want to hire and bring into our organization. And those are the compelled individuals. They're compelled to wake up early in the morning. They're compelled to get their workout done. They're compelled to do their personal development. They're compelled to go above and beyond. It doesn't matter how they feel. What they said is what they're going to do. They're passion driven. These people are not capable of not giving it their all. To be successful and great at anything, you have to be obsessed. And when you're obsessed with something, there is no balance. I will tell you that my family comes first and my faith comes first, and everything else sits second to that. And those are my priorities. But my life is never balanced, and I'm an athlete too. And when I'm in season, I have to be obsessed. I have to be obsessed with that. So discipline makes that possible, but I do not believe in work-life balance, and I detest that phrase.
That's fair. Honestly, you're not the first business owner to share that with me. So that is a common theme I'm seeing with several people, and it's definitely very true. Okay, well, we've touched on this a little bit, but what qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
Yes. Culture. So important. I hire for culture and attitude and alignment with our core values. I think a lot of companies have core values, but they're just like, maybe somebody read about you should have core values and a mission and a vision. And so like a company will have these things, but their team doesn't know what their core values are. They might be on their website and you feel like it's something that you just need to have or start a business. But our core values, they are our golden standard for everything that we do in our businesses. It's the the standard that we use to hire. It's the standard that we use to let somebody go if things aren't working out right. And I'll share those core values with you. I love them. And these are my personal core values too. Discipline, accountability, results oriented, which just means we get shit done. So many times we say that we're going to do something or we have great intentions, but there's no follow through. And so nothing happens. So results oriented is one of my favorites. Alignment. That's making sure that we're on the same page. And that starts in the recruitment process with our job postings, making sure that we're posting our vision, our mission, our core values, and that we're letting people know how important those things are to us, because that will attract the right people and it will repel the ones that don't hold these core values dear to them. And also have a 3-part interview process. Start with a cultural alignment interview, which is like your standard job interview. Go through your resume, talk about your skills and your job history and all that good stuff. But anybody can get through a first interview. Like really anybody can get through it. So then we move them on to a technical interview. And the technical interview is where we get a little more granular with their skill set. There's 2 things that I see on resumes. One, people will fluff their resumes and add skills and certifications, sometimes even education and things that they aren't exactly accurate. So when you drill down and you start asking technical questions and find out where somebody is really at, it's really eye-opening. But the other thing that happens, and this is more common, is people have skills and attributes and sometimes certification and education that aren't on their resumes, especially with our blue collar techs. And you might hear them talking. We're doing some training next door. They're blue collar guys. They're not writing resumes isn't their strong suit. So they might have electrical credentials. They might have training hours that they didn't list. There's so many skills that you've got to uncover and find out what they're really capable of and what their strong suits are. So we use that technical interview to really find out what somebody's skill sets are and where they're at on that scale from beginner to advanced level. And that helps us create our job description too, right? Because every employee should have a job description, and everybody's is a little bit different based on what they bring to the table. And then our third and final interview is our core values interview. And that's when we give our applicants a chance to present to us our core values and tell us how they're important in their life. By far the most important of the 3 interviews. And it goes back for hiring for attitude and for character, because the rest can be trained. But that's how we keep our culture here. The culture is an interesting thing because you build a really strong culture. It will attract the right people, but it also will repel the wrong people. Oftentimes, sometimes we still make the wrong hiring choice. Our team takes care of it. It rarely gets to my desk. Our team takes care of it because they're highly accountable. They're disciplined. And if you can't walk and keep up with their cadence and their step, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb and they'll flush them out.
Okay, looking ahead, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and any words of advice for other business owners looking to grow their businesses?
Yeah, goals are so important, really important. So our business goals are based on a 10-year plan that we set 9 years ago. So we're looking for a $500 million exit in 2034. So that's in 9 years. So we're doing that through growth. We're doing that through natural growth, marketing, and organic campaigns. We've already tripled the size of Clines since we acquired it a year and a half ago. When we sell comfort systems, we're going to take that capital and fuse it here into this market. And we are looking forward to a complete market domination in Spokane in North Idaho for both commercial and residential HVAC. My husband is brilliant and has a fan that I can't talk much about, but getting ready to take that to market. We know it's going to explode, and we're just so excited to get moving with this and production and all of the things that we actually don't even know what to look forward to when we go through this, because we've never taken anything to the market before. So all of our goals line up with that. I also have a personal 5-year goal to walk on the Olympia stage, and for Masters Olympia, which I believe is going to be in Dubai next year. And so that's on my personal list, but everything in our 10-year realm is broken down into increments. And so our 5-year goal is based on that.
That's amazing. And then to round it out, what question should I be asking you that I haven't yet?
I thought about this, so many good questions. I would probably ask me about how being an athlete has shaped the way that I lead business. We are a lot stronger than we know. Like we're a lot stronger than we know. But we have to exercise that to know how strong and resilient we are.
Yeah.
And in the gym, when you can push yourself a little further, you tell your mind to shut up when your body is tired, it does translate into business. So I'm obsessed with doing hard things physically. And I am not really a runner. In fact, I don't like running, but I ran several half marathons and I ran a full marathon just because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And the further that I push myself in the physical realm, the further I'm able to push myself in my professional realm. And to suffer in the gym, you realize that it's going to hurt for a couple days, but you recover and then you're stronger than ever before. It's the same in life. We're going to get bumped around, we're going to get bruises, we're going to get hurt, but we've got to wait it out and put that to use and realize that that's just going to build scar tissue, which makes us stronger, faster, smarter for the next time we're faced with a similar situation. And the discipline too, we call them non-negotiables, the things that we're going to do, whether we feel like it or we don't feel like it. Going to the gym is one of those things for me. But once you get really disciplined in any domain of your life, it will bleed into the other domains. So when I get really disciplined with my fitness, I get disciplined with my diet, I get disciplined with my parenting, my house is a lot cleaner, my calendar is a whole lot more organized, my desk is a lot more organized, and I'm a lot more productive at work too.
I love that. That is amazing. Well, thank you so much, Treasure. I really appreciate your time. I'll make sure to have your information linked below for everyone to go and check out. And to our audience, come back for more episodes.